When you think about worshiping God, what comes to mind? Maybe you think that worship is just about coming to church on Sunday or singing songs or praying or serving people. Often when we think about worship, we think it's something that we do for God. But worship is so much bigger than just something that we do. Worship is a two-way street. We submit to God and God changes us. But sometimes we forget that it's possible to worship things other than God. In fact, everyone worships something, and what we worship changes us. See, when I was a little boy, I worshiped the Ninja Turtles. That's all fun and games until I punched my sister. You see, what we give our heart to is what we worship, and what we worship changes us. So the obvious question seems to be, how does worship change us? Most people think that we change simply by putting new information into our brains. But consider how often what we think and what we do don't match up. The distance between what we think and what we do is the space where God wants to change us, and that's where worship comes in. Worship is where we place ourselves before God and God does something to us. Worship is a two-way street. We submit to God and God changes us. In a moment, we're going to put this stuff into practice. We're going to worship together through communion. Communion is the ultimate sign of surrender. It shows us just how far Jesus was willing to go in order to obey God, and it reminds us that we are called to follow His example. When we take communion together, we surrender ourselves to God just as Jesus taught us 2,000 years ago. Some of the things that we do in worship, like communion or baptism, are called sacraments. A sacrament is a way that we submit to God so that God can change us. When we take communion, we're reminded of Jesus' sacrifice, and when we're baptized, we remember His death and His resurrection. But these sacraments are more than just reminders. When we take communion or when we're baptized, we're placing ourselves before God so that He can do something to us. So today you're going to have the opportunity to submit to God and be changed. This is sacred time. Don't miss it.